All right, do you want to do the introduction now?
Oh, well, I gotta sync up the audio first.
Okay.
Sync. For real sync. Because of Cate. Okay.
All right.
Alright.
Ready?
Yeah. Welcome to Cryptid Afflicted. I'm Abel.
I'm Cate.
Alright, let's get going.
So do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first this time?
Yeah, let's let you go first.
Okay. All right, so my cryptid today is the Dogman.
Ooh, creepy.
So I've done a lot of research on the past. So today I just have like a basic description, and I've got a story, and I have a recording.
Okay.
That I'm going to share. Oh, and a news article as well.
Alright.
So I'm very excited about this one because it's very spooky. So I'm going to get started. And first I want to start with pictures and descriptions. So can we turn on the...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's get right into pictures. Are you ready? Are you all set up?
Well, let me first start by describing what a Dogman is. So... first and foremost, like for those of you unfamiliar, a Dogman is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a bipedal creature that looks like a dog, like with a man's body more or less, but there are different variations. So there's the Michigan Dogman, which a lot of people have heard of. There's the Beast of LBL, and I believe that's the one that there's a book out there written by Linda Godfrey. I actually really need to get a copy of that book. I totally want to read it because I want to do another show with the Dogman in the future, and I'm totally going to read that book beforehand, though. Another couple of famous ones. Oh, and the Beast of LBL, before I continue to a couple more examples, is in Wisconsin. Obviously, the Michigan Dogman is in Michigan, so the two most common sightings are probably, of course, Wisconsin and Michigan as a result. Another one is the Beast of Seven Shoots, and I'll have a picture of that one, actually. Okay. And that one...
is it like a renditioning, or...?
It's a picture.
It's a picture.
But, and you'll know when you see it, but like some people look at it and they say, it's a case of pareidolia.
Oh, okay.
But... I don't know.
You want to explain what pareidolia is?
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone knows what it is, they just don't know the word.
Well, it's like when you see something, but you're not sure what you're seeing. Basically, like you could look at leaves, and it's like, is that a figure? Or like you see something out of the corner of your eye, and you think it's like a person, like it's a figure, but it's just like, oh, it's just a weird stump.
Or like a cloud looks like a person.
Yeah, it's like seeing faces and things. Yeah. Like it's the tendency of humans to see either human-like shapes or sometimes even scary shapes.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It's kind of like looking at these, the walls and seeing like two eyes when they're just not holes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. So anyway, I do have a picture. So Seven Shoots is a place it's like a area in Quebec. And then my personal favorite is the Beast of the Land Between the Lakes, or the Beast of LBL, because they call it LBL.
How many creatures you got today?
Well, it's the Dogman, but these are just examples of the Dogman throughout North America.
All right. Well, yeah.
Those are just the most famous. So the Beast of LBL, well, first of all, Land Between the Lakes is like a recreational, like camping area out in Kentucky. Yeah. And part of Tennessee, like part of northern Tennessee. So it's that area, but mostly it's associated with the sightings are mostly in Kentucky from what I've been seeing. So just the very basic description of the Dogman is a man's body with a dog's head, but there's so much more to it. If you'd like to.
Oh. We're ready now.
We are ready for pictures. So
we're
going to start with the... So start here. This is the Type 3 variant one. But first, let me explain what a Type 3 is. So the Type 3 basically has human legs and like more of a man-like body. They do not have tails. So the Type 3 variant 1...
It's like a baboon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's creepy. So let me get my notes in order here. So what we have here, and let me read a little bit more about the type 3s. And I'm going to read this verbatim. This is actually the descriptions from Dogman Encounters by Vic Cundiff.
Okay.
Awesome show. But I don't think he would mind me sharing this because he's all about getting that information out there because he's into Dogman and I don't think he would be offended. Plus, I'm giving him credit because this is all his stuff.
Okay.
So, what he says about the type 3 is that so that basically, this is just a few of the different ways that the type 3 can look, but he had a different picture. I didn't include it here. So not all the type 3 dogmen look exactly the same. Type 3 dogmen are characterized by their hominid-style legs. They have knees and ankles just like humans and Sasquatch. While this type of cryptid is referred to as being a dogman by many people, it's clear that these cryptids aren't canids. There's something else. What are they? I don't know. If they were members of the Canidae family, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Canidae.
Is that like Canidae?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I pronounced it wrong.
It's like a type of Canadian, right?
it's a Canadian.
Canidae.
If they were members of the Canidae family, they'd have hocks, stifle joints, and other anatomical features specific to canids. While many people claim they must be some kind of Sasquatch due to how similar they can be in appearance to them, that also can't be the case. Type 3s have certain anatomical features that let us know they can't be apes, like Sasquatch. Oh, can't be apes like Sasquatch. I misread that. I apologize. Apes, like Sasquatch, have fingernails and toenails. Type 3 dogmen have claws on their fingertips and toes. Apes don't have sharp post-canine teeth. Type 3 dogmen do have sharp post-canine teeth. I've heard the idea posed that they must be some form of giant baboon. That also can't be true because baboons are monkeys. Monkeys have tails. Type 3s don't have tails. So that is one thing I do disagree with because not all monkeys do have tails. Old world monkeys do not have tails. New world monkeys do.
Old world.
Old world monkeys like baboons and macaques, those types of monkeys, they're considered old world.
Why? What's the difference between old and new?
Most old world monkeys are found in places like Africa, and most new world monkeys, I mean, it's not specifically, I mean, they can vary in range and location, but it's been a long time.
I just don't understand the term new world.
That's just what I'm used to saying. It was back like years ago when I took an anthropology course.
Oh,
but
fancy.
I know. And new world monkeys, they're the ones with like the prehensile tails and stuff. So I don't totally agree with that. They could be some kind of simian. I don't know. But it's too... I do like what he has to say about it. He is very knowledgeable, so I like to use his example. Okay, so if you want to go back to the picture, we can talk about the variants just a little bit.
Okay.
These are the type 3 variants.
Type 3 variants.
So the first one...
It's just... it's really bright, that's why, and I want to be able to see out of that camera better.
So just
for the time being when you're not.
Oh yeah. I'll run through the type 3s and then we'll talk about canine types, which I think are like the more of the quintessential dogman.
Okay. So
the first group is the type 3. This is this picture and the information specific to the types, the variants, I got from Map Squatch.
Is there more picture, or is that cut off at the bottom there?
There is more. I just wanted to focus on this guy first.
Oh, okay.
So this is the human-like. It's strong, lean, and baboon-like. Mm-hmm. And then down here we have yeah, freaky, right? The type 3 variant 2 is tends to have like a chow type head.
What is that? Is that just like a dog photoshopped?
Well, these are all, I mean, these of course are all artist renderings because, it's pretty hard to get.
Rendering or render? I always hear rendition. I really don't even know what the damn word means.
You know what? We should look into that.
Yeah.
So this one tends to have more like a chow type head, a shorter snout with really big, strong, scary freaking teeth.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Type 3 Variant 3, which looks more like a baboon, or this is like more like the Googway type that you and I were talking about earlier.
Okay.
Which a lot of people think is a Sasquatch type, because it looks like a big freaking scary baboon. They tend to be really aggressive, so it's like a Sasquatch with a muzzle. So a good example of that is the Beast of Seven Shoots.
Okay.
And I will show a picture of that shortly. But first, I want to talk about canine type dogmen, which I think are, I don't know, these really freak me out. They all freak me out, but so the canine type dogman, and again, this one also is taken from Vic Cundiff's Dogman Encounters. This is the canine type dogmen are characterized by the fact that they have canine style legs instead of hominid style legs like a human or a Sasquatch would have. Instead of ankles, they have hocks. Instead of knees, they have stifle joints. Let's see. So just like with the Dogman Type 3, there are variations in how they look. Like some look more like German Shepherds. Some look more like timber wolves, and we'll get into that shortly. So some, like he says here, some type of disproportionately large heads. Others are more hyena-like. Some are described as looking like the black werewolf in the movie Van Helsing. Like literally some people.
Okay. Yeah.
Like some of the eyewitness reports I read and heard, like they literally said it reminded me of the werewolf from Van Helsing, like the skinny pointed,
I know,
really
what you're
pointed
talking
ears and the big like gnarly looking face.
I'm sure I could pull something up.
Yeah, it's actually you'll see it in here actually.
Oh, okay.
And others just say that Dogman looks like a large timber wolf that was ambulating bipedally. About 95% of the Dogman eyewitnesses who contact me describe seeing dogmen that fit into this category, canine-type dogmen. For whatever reason, canine-type dogmen seem to be more prone to aggression than Type 3 dogmen. That's not to say that Type 3s are docile by nature, because they're not. Mm-hmm. It's obvious that they're members of the Canidae family. Other than that, again, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Other than that, no one knows what their origins are or how to classify them. So yeah, we were talking about that earlier too, I think, at one point, even though you didn't know I was specifically going to do this. Mm-hmm. Like, how do we know? Oh, so if you would like to show the pictures again, I can scroll down and show you what the variants, the canine types and the variants look like.
Okay.
So canine variant 1 looks like a standing timber wolf.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically, it's very unnatural looking. It's basically, as Vic was describing it, they're walking on, like, it just looks like a wolf, like, walking upright, like, with a semi-human body. They
just
look really fucking weird.
Yeah.
The second one, it looks like similar, but it's a standing hyena. They have more rounded ears and, like, giant fangs.
That looks like some sort of mutated hyena.
It really does. It's fucking terrifying. I mean, could you imagine seeing that shit? So.
Ugh.
So just like what we were describing, variant 3, this is basically how you might imagine a werewolf would look. Like, if you saw this in real life, you'd be like, that's a freaking werewolf.
That's a werewolf, yeah.
So this one is the one taken from Van Helsing. Like, I've looked at a lot of pictures of these, and that is actually, they literally use the Van Helsing werewolf. Okay. They used a still from the movie literally for this. So because that's what people describe them as looking like.
That one's like crazy on the right.
And when they see it, they like come back and they're always like, I can't believe it. Like, it looks just like it. It's so freaking nuts.
Yeah.
And then variant 4 tends to have like an extremely, like a disproportionately large head. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why they say this, but they say that it's like more like a soldier type.
Yeah. See, I always find it hard to believe, like the Dogman stuff. is hard for me to find scary because, like Bigfoot, it might be out there and it's terrifying that something so large and strong could just grab you and rip you apart or something. I mean, you don't typically hear about stuff. You hear about just sightings, people shitting their pants, and then them walking away.
Well, yeah, because it's scary, but like they're not usually
Dogman.
aggressive.
I don't know. I always like
in the same ways.
What kind of drugs were you doing? You know, like what the hell? Come on, be honest with me.
I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from, but like,
are we done with this over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me show you the Beast of 7 Shoots before we move on, though, because like this is.
Thank you
this
for
picture,
serving my coffee for me.
You're welcome. Okay, do you want to turn it back on? This is the Beast of 7 Shoots photo. This one, it circulates all over the internet. To me, it looks like a Googway. Like, I think it's a Sasquatch type. That's what I mean, I'm not an expert.
Oh, this is the actual photo?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, some people are like, oh, it's pareidolia, but like...
I don't know. That looks like a fuzzy animal.
It looks like something. It looks like something. I mean, maybe it's a person in a costume. I don't know. But, like, people say they're carrying, like, what looks like a dog.
I don't know. Someone obviously had their handy-dandy potato camera.
Yeah. They always take the Sasquatch
let's leave the high-definition, Canon, 4K quality.
Potatoes.
Yeah. Give me that Spud camera. Okay, so, I mean, it looks like there's something there. Something in the brush.
It looks like something. And it looks big.
I mean, it looks like a gorilla. Are there any fucking gorillas that escape from a zoo or something?
But look how upright it is standing.
Yeah,
it's so upright. Like, they don't stand like that. And,
but
I mean, the face makes me think baboon, not gorilla.
Okay.
It looks like a baboon face to me.
I think that's pareidolia, where you're kind of seeing something like
maybe
because a gorilla could be taking a picture of that fuzzy and it could, I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever.
You're right.
And I can't really say what the heck it is.
Right here,
I don't know what
that looks like the snout to me. Like that looks like a baboon snout, and this is why I don't think that it's a Dogman type. Is because like look at the head. It's got it looks like a sagittal crest to me.
Yeah, like the gorilla cone head or something.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. Like. That's my take on it. But again, it could all be pareidolia. It could just be like some weirdly shaped stump, I guess.
All right. Do you have any other pictures?
I have... Hold on. Do you want to close it out real quick? Wait. Let me check.
Well, I just won't look.
I do have one more. Now, this one... So this is just a collection of images. And the reason I included it, because I didn't see these anywhere else, but I think this has to be from a movie. I feel like this has to be from a movie.
Yeah.
Like, because look at it. Like...
Yeah, I think I've actually seen this, the one in the bottom left corner. I think I've seen that
feel like
better quality, like higher definition.
I feel like... Because look at it. Because, like, how would it... But this one really, on the bottom left corner, really freaks me out because, like, look at its face and, like, okay, look at the way it's missing hair. When animals start rotting, that's, like, the first thing is their hair starts slipping. Yeah. They call it, taxidermists call it hair slippage.
Well, what about, could it just be mange? That kind of looks like mangy.
It's possible. Like, I mean, I wonder if dogmen get mange.
Well... I don't think that's a dog. I don't think that's actually a dog, man. And the top left is obviously from a movie. Well,
yeah, that one. It's just a collection of images. This one freaks me out too a little bit because it's like the weird eye glow. Which, like, when I see eye glows in video, like most of the Dogman videos I've seen were like night taken at night. Yeah. They were like eye glow, and it's like, well, that could be like that could be anything.
That's a raccoon standing up.
Yeah, I mean, there was one I saw that kind of freaked me out because of the movements, and I was like, that doesn't look right. Like, there's something weird about it, but I didn't choose to include it because I didn't feel like it would show up very well, like, unless you're seeing it yourself and like,
that collage computer. Is so blurry, too.
It really is. I apologize.
Oh, no, it's not your...
But... I mean, this picture right here, I'm just like, what is that from a movie?
That's
like,
probably an art piece. I bet you it's an art piece.
It's probably an art piece because, like, I can't imagine that somebody would have gotten an image of it and then, like, they would have... People aren't freaking talking about it all over the damn place.
It's an installation.
Like, I feel like that would have come up in my research sooner than, like, recently. Like these stuff, this stuff, like this one and this one, it would have come up more recently in my research.
Okay.
Like, look at this photo you got. Like, I feel like people would have been freaking out. So they must be from movies or art pieces or something, but they look creepy.
All right. And how many stories do you have today?
I have 2.
You have 2 stories. Okay.
Yes.
I only have 1.
Okay.
So I'll let you have at it. Are you done with the pictures?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes,
That's so bright. I want to keep the atmosphere in here. I like the way that it's.
I do too.
I like this.
Okay, let me see. Oh. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably not the smartest thing for us to bring glass cups with stainless steel straws.
Well,
Let's make as much noise as we can while we're drinking.
well, it is what it is.
Ugh.
Oh, actually, there is one more thing I wanted to show you on the screen. I almost forgot
Oh
about.
my
I'm
God.
so sorry.
Ugh.
This is a map of the United States where there have been Dogman sightings, reported Dogman sightings.
Dogman?
Dogman sightings.
Dogman sightings.
I love your use of plurals. So as you can see,
I like that most of them are by New England. That's awesome.
It's heavier over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's the foresty part of the
and then
country.
There's like a cluster over here in the southwest, like around
They don't like Mexico.
Navajo Nation, which
What is-
freaks me out.
What's up with this? Like Canada, just a few, and just a few in Mexico. Like,
well, if you back out, it shows the world map. I just like to.
but
focus.
why is it like so heavy in America compared to? I mean, of our whole continent, it's America.
Well, if you notice, there's a lot here too. Here, let me get closer.
Nowhere near as much as America, though.
But there's a lot reported in the UK, like England. There are a lot of reportings. Wow. I've heard of some recently from Scotland as well. So the UK has a lot, and not just. I guess like it looks like the reported amount, like it looks like they have the second most from what I can tell from this out of all the reported sightings. But of course, since we're in the US, my focus is on the US. But that's freaky, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And you can click, and this is also this link. I can't remember where I found this. I want to say this was also Dogman Encounters. I mean, they have everything on there. It's freaking. Yeah. It's a great resource if you're interested in learning about Dogman.
And I was thinking, after if enough people, like this show, we can start up on social media with it, and we can add links and pictures that we show here.
Yeah, I mean,
so if people aren't watching on YouTube and they have, like, just want to check on,
and I just, oh man, I mean, Dogman freaks me out more than like pretty much any other one. But okay, so I don't know, I just think this map, and you can click on each one and it'll take you to like a story.
Yeah, you can actually make these yourself, from what I hear. You can make your own little maps with little hotspots and stuff. Yeah. Because I was looking for cryptids that would be kind of close to us, and you could find them.
So, well, yeah, that would be really cool. I know I know the museum I went to recently had a map specifically for our state. So there is a news article I found, and I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Okay.
Because it'll take up a lot of time, I feel. But so in Monroe County, mm-hmm. In I want to say it was Kentucky. Yeah. Okay. So in Monroe County in Kentucky, this happened back in 2018 in September-ish. So this guy got up to feed his horses and found that his horses and his dogs were all dead. Yeah. And so he was like, it was, so Fish and Wildlife went to investigate. The sheriffs went down, I guess, and Fish and Wildlife showed up. Their throats had been torn up, and So this is what I thought was interesting. The Monroe County Sheriff and Denton believe it was a large cat that attacked and killed the animals. No, it's not a house cat, said Dale Ford, Monroe County Sheriff. What a weird response. Like, oh, they said it, they believe it was a large cat. My bad.
Okay.
No, it's not a house cat. But the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife biologists said there are animal tracks around the property, but not enough of them to be conclusive. He says, one track over there was a bobcat. There's a larger track over there, but I'm not an expert on mountain lions. I'll send it to someone else and see what he thinks, and I'll know in a day or two what he has to say about that. As they were pointing around at the tracks of the property. So I think what threw people off about it is that they were kind of vague. They're like, yeah, it must be a puma, but like there was some, like the end of it kind of was really, it says if you see anything in your trail cameras, you're encouraged to call I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was just something really weird about it. Like the way it killed the animals. Like, a lot of the people in the area, like, thought it was really weird that they thought it was, like, a mountain lion because it killed the horses and it killed the dogs. Like, they weren't little dogs. They were big dogs. Did it eat them? It didn't say. Like, it just said they tore their throats out, which cats, I mean, cats can do that. Like, cats can kill for fun.
Yeah.
But it was, like, several horses and several dogs.
Yeah.
And they were not small dogs. They were big dogs, like a husky and a pit bull. And it's like, I feel like they would have put up enough of a fight. Like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
I've seen.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like that story is not needed to be included because we could go across. Right. Oh, that was a chupacabra, or you know, you could say it was just, anything.
But they were vague about it, and I haven't been able to find. I so far haven't been able to find follow-ups on it. Like, they just kind of were like, nothing, yeah, let's just ignore it. So I don't know, like, it was just a little weird. Like, I just thought it was weird. And, like, some other, like, one of the shows I was listening to pointed to it and said that was bizarre.
Yeah. Because
it just didn't, like, sound... I don't know. That is an energetic fucking puma. I just... It must have been a really big one because usually big dogs can fend them off. Like if there's a couple big dogs, they can usually do pretty good at fending them off. And it killed them pretty, I don't know.
Do you want to get to your story?
Yes. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm stretching there.
I think it is a big stretch.
You think it was a bit of a stretch?
I'm not convinced it's Dogman. You could say it's just about anything. I'm
not saying it's Dogman.
In fact, let's use that story for every cryptid that we bring on here. And we'll be like, oh yeah, well maybe it was this.
Okay, fine. I don't know. Some people pointed to it.
It was Mothman.
Some people pointed to it. Other people pointed to it. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I'll include it because it's creepy. Maybe it was because I was reading all this stuff and reading these stories. And then I read it in conjunction. I was like, ah!
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what influenced me to include it.
Okay.
To be honest, but I don't know, like...
Yeah. Well, I want you to get into these stories. Like, that's what I'm here for.
Really
that's yeah.
Okay. So this is the first person encounter of someone who sent in their report of a Dogman experience that they had with their friends while out camping. I'm not going to start at the very beginning. I'm going to just jump right into the story.
Okay.
So we set up our tent and get a fire going, have a couple beers, and are bitching about our women. And the sun goes down. We all looked at each other because the woods got real quiet. You couldn't even hear crickets. Everything just went dead quiet. It felt like there was a lightning storm coming because you could feel the static in the air. And all the hair on the back of my neck stood up. Jamie started saying that he felt like the air was humming, and then all of a sudden, there was a real deep bass noise, and this bright light in the distance that flashed up and lit up the whole woods. It looked like the light when a real big firework explodes for the first few seconds. But it lasted for probably a minute before it split up into 3 or 4 other lights and shot back down into the trees. We could see all the lights glowing out in the woods, and then there was a big gust of wind, and it was gone. Everything smelled like it had just rained, but it never did. We didn't know what to do, but figured we would just wait it out, but nothing happened. We thought maybe it could have been a meteor or something, so we left it alone and went back to bitching about our women. At about 2 a.m, we decided to turn in, so Jamie and I went to sleep in the tent, but Dan said he was going to sleep by the fire. An hour later, I wake up because Dan is in the tent shaking us, saying that there is something big watching the camp. He said it was about 50 feet from the fire, and he thought that it might be a bear, but that it was standing on 2 legs and bobbing back and forth like it was trying to get a better look at him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Creepy.
While he was talking, we heard a loud scream. I've never heard anything like it before, as long as I've been alive. It sounded like a pig being slaughtered, but deeper, and so loud it made your ears ring. Next thing I remember was hearing 3 or more things come running towards the campsite and the embers from the fire kicking up and landing on the tent. The things, or creatures, or whatever they were, kept running up to the tent and grunting and running back into the woods. Every once in a while, one of them would scream again and pull on one of the tent poles, dragging the whole tent a foot or two. The tent was collapsing on one side and we didn't know what else to do, so we just started screaming as loud as we could. Only took a minute and then everything was quiet again. So we made a run for the truck as fast as we could and hit the gas. When we were leaving, we saw one of those fuckers in the headlights standing in the road. I told Jamie to gun it, and the thing straightened up and puffed up its chest. It must have been 8 feet tall, had gray hair all over its body except the front. That hair was white or yellow around the chest. Its face looked kind of like a dog, but not really. I know what Bigfoot looks like, and this was way different. It didn't even move when we drove at it. We had to swerve around or we would have run it over. We would have run right over it. We drove back to the mountains. We drove back down the mountain to the highway and parked the truck in a gas company parking lot. We were going to tell the cops what happened, but we didn't know if we were camping somewhere we shouldn't be. And we had been drinking all night and can't afford a DUI, so we just waited for the sun to come up and sobered up. When we drove back to get our stuff, there wasn't anything there. Everything was gone. No tent, no cooler, nothing.
Oh.
We told some of our friends what happened, and they won't believe us since we'd been drinking, so we just decided to forget about it. If you want to come check it out, I'll take you right to the place it happened. There's still tracks from where we peeled out, and lots of big gashes in the dirt where the tent was, but nothing else. I don't know if it had anything to do with the lights we saw, but it was the weirdest damn thing any of us had ever experienced. That was no bear. So I thought that one was really strange. This is
that's creepy.
This was from the website Weekend Weird, which is also a really fun website.
Yeah.
I really recommend checking it out.
Oh, okay. The creepiest part for me is when he saw it standing on two legs, and I mean, well, yeah, it could be a bear, but the way he says like, yeah, swaying back and forth to get a better look, and
that one like
that
set my hair on edge. Yeah, that one's really creepy. I found tons of really good stories, and that's part of the reason I want to revisit this. I don't want to do it too much, just because I mean, there's already a show, a really great show, where people can share their encounters.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it again eventually.
Yeah,
but,
I would love to, but this is general cryptid show, not Dogman, so
yeah.
I do love it, and it really scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So I have one more story.
Okay.
It's a bit longer.
That's fine.
And it's off of paper, so.
Yeah. I'm glad you have two, because mine's still kind of short, and I
have way more I could say about this too. So it's just interesting because I hear like the light thing is what kind of threw me with that story, is because I thought it was interesting because of that, like because you don't really hear that with Dogman encounters. Like you don't hear about the light thing. That's more of like a Sasquatch thing. Like you hear about the lights of Sasquatch, and people think that Sasquatch are interdimensional beings or aliens and stuff.
Yeah, there's a whole list of.
Yeah, and so I guess if Dogman encounters are real, and even if one of these encounters, I mean, there's so many of these reports, and even if one of them is real, like, that's freaking mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And it would make more sense if it was like an interdimensional thing, because why would something like that exist? Like, it's so crazy to think about. But, like, part of me is like, oh my god, what if that is a thing? Like, what if they are coming through a rift? Like, because it's so scary, because they're, like, horrifying. Like, none of the encounters are friendly that I hear about.
Yeah,
none of them are friendly.
Yeah, unlike Bigfoot.
Where sometimes they're like, hey, how you doing? Like, they're cool.
Yeah.
Like,
can I be part of your family?
Hey, want to hang out? Want to have a beer? Like, yeah.
I like Harry and the Hendersons.
That's my favorite movie. I love that movie when I was a kid, by the way. I still love that movie.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some big fi out there that like it.
I don't
They're
think
like,
they've ever seen it.
We love John Lithgow.
He's our favorite actor.
Yeah. You ever seen Third Rock from the Sun?
But yeah, I mean, you know, Bigfoot aren't... I mean, I think when they are showing aggression, it's more of like they're scared and they're trying to get us out of their area. Like, they're not actually wanting to hurt people.
Yeah.
Like, I think they prefer not to, from what I've
I think that's the only reason why, if they exist... I mean, we're kind of going on a tangent here.
Yeah. I won't get in...
If they exist, I think that it's because that's like a genetic trait where they're shy. They don't want to be seen. You know, like, that's the only way that you could survive with us wandering around.
No, we're maniacs.
If we find anything, we're going to kill it, yeah.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, we killed off, like, a lot of our competition. We've made a few extinct species. We haven't killed them all off, obviously. There have been billions of different species, but even to this day. But, I mean, yeah. So anyway, I don't think they're as aggressive, whereas Dogmen are like, you almost never hear about a friendly encounter with them. They're like, they want to eat people, basically, is how people feel. Yeah. You know, like the reports when they come back, they say, yeah, I felt like they wanted to rip me apart and eat me. It could just because you're seeing a terrifying, unexplainable creature that you have that feeling. Whereas for the longest time, Bigfoot's been around and people had a feeling like, and we had Harry and the Hendersons. So there are people out there who are like, oh, maybe Bigfoot could be friendly. Yeah. So maybe when they have their experiences after that movie came out, they're like, I don't know, this is still terrifying, but maybe they don't want to hurt me. So it gave them, the person witnessing them gave them the benefit of the doubt. Whereas with werewolves, it's just all of our werewolf movies are werewolves tearing people apart and eating them. Right. So there's no benefit of the doubt there. Right.
So you have another story?
I do have another story.
I really want to hear it.
So I've estimated that this story is from the early 2000s. That's where I can trace it. I don't know exactly what year it came out on the internet. The name of the person who wrote this is out there, but I don't think I'm going to say, just because it's been so long, I don't know how she feels about people. I don't know if, she's still, from what I've heard, still to this day, she swears that this is a true story. But I don't know if people have bothered her about it or anything, because skeptics are all like saying, oh, she's full of shit and stuff. Of course, you always get those people. So I'm not gonna, you can find her name. Mm-hmm. I don't want to put it out there just because out of respect, I don't know how she would feel. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay. And tell her story. Yeah. Walk with me now as I take you back about 22 years, back to the early 1980s, where I used to work midnights at a gas station a few miles from the Kentucky Dam, which was a few miles from the beginning of LBL and Grand Rivers. And it was one of these midnight shifts. Let me do that again. And it was one of these midnight shifts I had two visitors that would change my outlook on the subject of werewolves and make me believe in what I had seen myself a few years back in the same area, but had kept it between myself and two other family members that were with me at the time. But that's another story to be written. This story was never in the paper, on the news, or had any media attention at all. It was kept hush-hush, and a sacred silence that was demanded on all those involved. It couldn't get out, ever. It was a few weeks before the beginning of tourist season, and tourists were what the locals survived on. They were the bread and butter, quote unquote. A story like this would be like screaming sharks at Daytona Beach or child molester at Disneyland. the people would stop coming out of fear. I wasn't a witness to the fact, just a third person making observations and having conversations with two individuals who were a part of the incident, who were involved in the whole ordeal. They had just come from the scene down in the middle of LBL after being there for over 8 hours. It was around 3 a.m, and they were taking a much-needed reality break. 2 officers of the law, 2 grown men who both appeared shaken beyond description. A mixture of fear and confusion, shock and disbelief emanated from both of them. One was paler than the other, a deathly pallor over his skin, and it was this one. I'll name him Officer Adam to protect his identity, and had to sit on the curb of the gas pumps, head between his legs, and expel the last bit of his stomach contents. The other officer, I'll name him Officer Bill, came in for some coffee for himself and a cup of water for his partner, then rejoined Adam outside. There were no other customers, so I went outside with them to see if I could offer some assistance with the ill man. He gladly took the few Rolaids I had extended in my hand. With his own shaky fingers, he struggled to get them into his mouth. For quite a long while, the only thing that was heard were the crickets in the nearby fields, the sounds of bugs hitting the fluorescent lights above us hanging from the gas station canopy, and the distant sound of highway traffic that was far and few between as it was in the wee hours of the morning. My mind was buzzing with various scenarios of the cause of their distress. A tragic car accident, possibly a motorcycle wreck, a boating mishap with drowned victims, a murder, a dead body discovered. Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. That's why the cat has 9 lives. I don't remember sitting down, but after 15 minutes of this hushed stillness, I found myself beside them both on the curb, staring out at the darkness of the nearby corn pastures, letting my mind paint pictures of imaginary traumas. Adam spoke first, breaking the silence of obscurity. I can't believe it. It's not possible. I just can't believe it. In a hushed agreement that was almost inaudible, Bill replied, I know. It is so unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this before. A long pause, a deep breath, and he continued. Or even heard of anything like this before. I looked at Bill and then at Adam. They were both gazing, open-eyed, unblinking, out into the inky color of the night. Adam's bottom lip was trembling slightly, and it wasn't from the slight chill in the late spring air. Something or someone had filled them each with a congested fear. After a few more moments of silent reserve, my patience was rewarded with some slow, fragmented description of their past 8 hours. Bill turned his wide azure blue eyes toward me. They were glazed and bloodshot, tired, frightened eyes. With a weary, shaken voice, he began to unfold a tale that would forever be embedded within my spirit, like a nasty shadow that lingers around a corner, waiting to pounce, to awaken your inner fears once again. Why he decided to tell me, of all people, was beyond my comprehension. Maybe it was an avenue he felt safe to travel upon, to get it off his chest, off his mind. They were both frequent customers, and we knew each other on first-name basis, but to divulge such a torrid account of great magnitude, well, I can only say that the fear inside them both at that moment in time had to be released, eased, and extracted from their souls, or else they may have gone mad with unbalanced thoughts. Without interrupting, I sat entranced, listening to every word, absorbing them like an opiate, a spellbinding narcotic that hypnotized me into forgetting the world even existed for the next half hour or so. They'd gotten a call to help with an investigation at one of the many rural campgrounds down in LBL. The tourist season was about to start in a few weeks, so as usual, there were some early arrivals that had come to claim prime camping spots before the areas were overrun with tents, campers, and travel trailers. The sun was setting low in the sky when they arrived at the scene. Several other official vehicles were already there, and there were many more to come, as they would soon find out. Many coming from other counties and a few coming all the way from another state. Several of these to come were coroners from different counties. One coroner vehicle was already present, as well as an ambulance, which would prove useless as there was no one to save. The victims were all dead. Quite dead. Completely, totally, and thoroughly deceased. A young married couple that had come down to take it easy for a few days were the first to discover the ghastly scene. Neither one of them wanted to stay behind while the other went for help. So they both nervously traveled to the nearest town, Grand Rivers, and called the authorities. They did not return to LBL. They merely gave the arriving officer directions to the area of discovery and rented a local hotel room. With the sun going down, it got dark pretty fast, so there was a flurry of floodlights from the cruisers being pointed in all directions, along with the excited movements of $50 flashlights being held by nervous, restless hands, searching the trees, the ground, the leaves, the shadows. There was a parked motorhome at the site, its frame being lit by a campfire close by. A fire that had almost went out on its own, but had been rekindled by the new crowd of men in uniforms so that they could have more light. The front and back doors to the home were open, one of the doors hanging by one hinge in a crooked slant. Through the windows they could see zigzag movements of luminosity as the beams from flashlights searched the interior. Bloody handprints slid down the thin metal walls close to the front door, and more bloody hand paintings could be seen along the length towards the back door, their images dancing eerily in the firelight like some ancient tribal symbols. Adam and Bill did not even want to imagine what was inside the motorhome, but then again, they would soon find out that it wasn't what was inside, but was what was outside that would change their lives forever. There was already crime scene tape placed in numerous scattered parts of the area and little white flags on metal stakes stuck into the ground marking evidence of ripped clothing, bodies and body parts, separated limbs, a pile of bowels, pieces of loose flesh clinging to muscle tissue. What used to be three bodies that just hours before had been a happy family on a happy vacation to create happy memories for years to come. A father, a mother, and a young son. The happiness was gone, destroyed by a psychotic madman. Or was it men? A murderous rage had taken place, one so abhorrently appalling that there were few witnesses to the scene that had kept their composure or held their recently eaten dinners down. At first sight, the victims appeared to be butchered by some unnameable weapon, possibly an axe or a chainsaw. Upon further inspection by the first arriving coroner, the wounds on the bodies were determined not to have been caused by a sharp instrument, but rather by some piercing, well-defined claws, or other wounds, or by some keen, mordantly long incisors. Wildcat? Bear? Wolves? The coroner shook his head in a baffled disagreement with each guess from the officers. The claw marks, for instance, on the back of the father's corpse were distinctively made by 4 long claws with a smaller digit like a thumb on the side. Its span was wider than a man's hand, wider and different than a bear's mark, with deep, deliberate gouges in the flesh. Rake marks from an angry, unknown source trying to grab its prey that was no doubt trying to escape. The wildcat and wolves theory was dismissed as the open wound marks were apparently made by a more grandiose animal source. The bite marks were much larger than any mountain lion, wolf, or coyote. Whatever did it had a longer snout and more sizable teeth. There were also indications that the larger areas of the cadavers of bite marks where the flesh, meat, and bone had been yanked away from the body, like a human who bites into an apple and leaves the impressions of his bite and teeth marks. So were the open wounds on these individuals. Bears, well, they weren't native to this area, but who knows, maybe a grizzly did sneak in some way. But that was far-fetched. He would have to travel several states and cross several rivers to even get close to that part of Kentucky. Everyone present was betting on bear hypothesis, anyway, and no one even thought of anything else to be the cause of such a savage attack. It had to be a bear. From the back door of the motorhome, an officer stepped down slowly, holding in his hand some type of garment. A dress. A small dress that would fit a small girl of around 5 years old. He informed the onlookers that there were more little girls' clothing packed inside the coach. This meant there was a missing person or an absent body, a member of the family. They all prayed she was still alive somehow, hiding somewhere. A new search began. As time went by, additional law enforcement employees arrived, as well as a few volunteer rescue squad members. Groups were spread out and assigned areas to examine and explore. Another coroner arrived to assist in the identification and causes of death, and much later a third showed up, this one from a nearby state. All types of samples were placed in plastic bags, marked as evidence, and carefully stowed away. As they were packaging up what appeared to be one of the father's arms, one of the doctors noticed something wrapped between the dead fingers. Some tweezers slowly untangled a clump of long, gray and brown hairs. This too was placed in a bag, marked and put away to be analyzed at a lab later. From somewhere in the nearby woods, about 50 yards from the campfire, a scream was heard. A man's shriek that turned into a long wail and then to whimpering. As others arrived, they could see by the gleam of several flashlights that the cop was holding his hat in one hand and his light in the other. There was blood on his face, the front of his shirt, and on the brim of his hat. More blood could be seen dripping on him. It was coming from above. High in the trees, the flashlight swung, searching for the source of the mysterious bleeding. A very small hand could be seen dangling down from a tree limb way up high, as well as a slender, lifeless leg that still had a white sock still on the foot. The missing child had been located. It had been Adam that the blood had trickled upon, hitting his hat first, making him look up, and then feeling the thick, cold fluid sprinkling his face, then sliding down to his neatly buttoned shirt. It had been Adam that had screamed. The little girl had apparently been carried up the tree and leisurely eaten upon, while carefully laid across a large tree branch. More of the same long gray and brown hair was found sticking in the bark of the tree near her body. After about 7 hours, most of the officers were sent away as a new team of investigators arrived. They were told not to talk to anyone of the incident, especially not the media. I'm sure that besides Adam and Bill, there were others who had to confess what they saw that night, if in fact this whole event even really happened. Witnesses that had to divulge the awful secret of that atrocious discovery at one of the campgrounds at LBL. About a month after sitting outside with Adam and Bill that night, they stopped in again during one of my midnight shifts. They were both rather quiet, more serious in nature, not like before the incident where they would kid around while drinking their sodas and eating a snack or two. They had both aged in some odd way. Streaks of gray that had not been there before highlighted both of their heads of hair. Their faces had lines of worry and showed signs of stress. I would see them again many times afterwards, but on this particular evening they informed me that they got word from some of the lab tests that were taken that dreadful night. The tests on the saliva taken from the bite marks and from the hair found on the man's fingers and the tree bark came back with an unknown species origin. The closest animal that they could be compared to was that of a Canis lupus, a wolf.
That was the hair sample?
Yeah.
Wolves don't typically eat people in tree or eat animals in a tree. They don't climb trees, huh?
Nope.
Wow, that's interesting. See, that threw me up because I wanted to see what the hair was going to be, and then as soon as you said that the little girl was taken up into the tree, I was like, "Well, that's a wildcat. It could be a big cat." And then the hair. That's so crazy.
I know. And so that's my personal favorite story that I've read about any of the Dogman encounters. Yeah. And and that's why they call it they say that the Beast of LBL is a Dogman. Yeah. Because there have been other reports and other sightings. Another story from that area, which I don't have in front of me, and I couldn't quite find it, was actually I want to say 90s, early 2000s, where they found a hunter. He went out bow hunting by himself, and he didn't come back, and his wife got worried, so she called the cops. She said, go check on my husband, please. He's at this campsite.
Right.
So they went and they found his torn open tent.
Ooh.
Yeah, and blood. And he had fired his bow. I guess they found some arrows that had been fired. He shot his bow at something. And they went looking for him and they found his mangled corpse. Not too far. I think it was only...
I want to go hunting, but...
Not alone.
Hunting by yourself at night and camping out, I mean, that's some manly stuff right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary. It is terrifying. This is the last thing I want to share with you.
Definitely not going to.
Hell no. This is the last thing I want to share with you because it is intriguing.
Is it an image or something?
It's a sound.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Creepy.
So, this is actually published on CTV News in Canada. This was recorded at the end of 2019 in the Ontario woods by a grouse hunter. He was out hunting with his wife and their granddaughter. Let me make sure the sound is up all the way. I want to tell you before I play it, they're not sure what it is.
Oh,
like,
of course. Won't be a cryptid if they were.
Oh. Let me make sure the sound is up all the way. Can you hear it? Yeah. Oh, wait. You know what it is?
What?
It's because my microphone is connected to it. It won't play it. I think it has to be on the screen.
Oh, no. Oh, yes, that is what it is. Oh, let's turn that on.
Okay. So, I find this really interesting. Okay. It's a little kid.
That is terrifying. That is terrifying.
It's so fucking scary.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to include it.
So, this is reminding me exactly of what I used to hear when I used to live
when you were
in the mountains in Georgia.
Yeah.
LJ, Georgia. We used to live up in the mountains in like a larger cabin by a creek. And the creek was so loud you could still hear it through the door.
I'm gonna pause it.
Yeah. I don't want that there. But, so through the door, you could hear this creek, but you really couldn't hear anything else. You couldn't hear cars driving by on the dirt road. It was, but at night you could hear that, just like a howl. And I used to say, ask like, what is doing that? And my grandma and her husband would tell me, oh, it's just a wolf. It's a wolf. And they would be asleep, so they never heard it. But I would hear it, and I was like, that's so loud. That's not a wolf. Wolf goes, oh, And it was like a large man screaming. And so that is just terrifying being out there at night. Yeah. And then waiting for the bus. You had to wait so early because we lived like 14 miles outside of town. You'd have to wait. I would have to get up so early that the sunlight wouldn't be out. And I'd have to wait in a small clearing just surrounded by dense trees. And I could just hear crunching the leaves behind me.
Oh, Fuck that, dude.
Sometimes I would be, oh, I'm sick. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to.
Oh my god, dude.
That was terrifying.
I'm glad you didn't get eaten by Dogman.
I mean,
But down here, they say, and this is what is extra freaky to me, is if you're looking for answers from the government, the Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry's guess is no better than anyone else's. Our biologists say it could be a larger mammal, for example, a wolf, but because of a considerable distance from the recorder, there's no way to be certain.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a wolf to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they really don't know what the hell that sound is. That's like the best recording we have to date, I think of it.
But that sounds like a lot of Bigfoot audio that I've heard before, like where they go, "Oh, this, this is what we think Bigfoot sounds like too." So
it could be. I mean, who knows, right? Yeah. I mean, just the sounds though, it's freaking freaky. It's terrifying. I just wanted to share that because I heard that. I actually didn't find it until today, and I was like, "This is like it." It raised the hair on my arms. I was just like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good thing we don't live by, dense forest.
Oh yeah, good thing. Oh my god, I took up so much time talking about Dogman. We're already like an hour in.
Big deal. That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about these things.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad because mine isn't really a big story. I mean, it is terrifying. You know what? I'll let you be the judge, and I'll just jump into it because
I would love that.
Let's just jump into it, and then I'll do the explaining and analysis after. All right. Let's just get into it then. Whether a person believes in extraterrestrial UFOs or not, it is fairly common knowledge that UFOs are synonymous with abductions. We've heard the tale of the madman who claims little gray men took him aboard their spaceship. But what happens when that man tells no tale? In 1956, Air Force Sergeant Jonathan Lovett would find himself searching the New Mexico desert for projectile wreckage from a recent test launch. Sergeant Lovett is not alone though. He's accompanied by Major William Cunningham. After hearing shouts from Sergeant Lovett, Major Cunningham would run over to find a metallic disc-shaped aircraft looming over Sergeant Lovett. Can you hear the cats?
I can.
Yeah.
Those
little bastards.
I even closed like the doors and everything.
I know. Okay, hold on. Let's go back to this. Okay. Oh my god, that's terrifying. It's a dog, man.
Oh my god, don't even joke about that.
Okay, let's go back.
What was he doing?
I think he just wanted attention. Rick was
he's like,
I'm just gonna start all over.
You haven't pet us for an hour, so we're gonna be little monsters.
Yeah.
They need like constant reassurance.
Uh-huh.
Oh god.
Okay, so
we're gonna have to put them in a kitty daycare or something.
Okay. In 1956, Air Force Sergeant Jonathan Lovett would find himself searching the New Mexico desert for projectile wreckage from a recent test launch. Sergeant Lovett is not alone though. He is accompanied by Major William Cunningham. After hearing shouts from Sergeant Lovett, Major Cunningham would run over to find a metallic disc-shaped aircraft looming over Sergeant Lovett. The Major described that a serpent-like apparatus emerged from the hovering craft and wrapped itself around Lovett's leg. Despite the Major's efforts, there was nothing he could do to help the sergeant. He was frozen. It was not out of fear, but some unseen force was preventing him from moving. Once the serpent-like apparatus and Sergeant Lovett were within the craft would vanish by flying away at an unfathomable speed. The Major was now free to move again. He immediately radioed for help. Armed forces arrived and began a search for the sergeant. Eventually, Cunningham was accused with Lovett's disappearance. 3 days after the incident, Lovett's body would be found 10 miles away from the spot he was last seen. It would appear as though his body had been surgically dissected. His eyeballs were removed without any damage to the surrounding tissue. There was an incision from his chin to his larynx. His tongue was removed. His genitals and anus were also removed. The body was there for approximately 48 hours. The body was perfectly preserved. There were no signs of decay. To top it all off, there were several dead scavengers around the body of Sergeant Lovett. It was theorized that they died from attempting to consume the somehow preserved tissue of the body. So that's the last time anyone saw. That's why it's terrifying because that's real. That's a real Air Force sergeant that was gone missing in 1956, and then they found him 3 days later.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
And so, like, alien abductions are scary.
They're scary.
But coming back deceased, or being murdered, basically.
Oh my god.
See, and I have this theory about this, is that
why would they dump his body there?
In 1947, July 8th, 1947 is the original Roswell crash, where supposedly, the government's like, oh no, it was some sort of balloon that we were doing tests with or something, and everyone's like, no, it was totally aliens, And then they have footage of them bringing in an alien, and then I should have added that. But anyways, they called this whole incident that they had with John Lovett was in a secret file. It was called Project Grudge. It's called Project Grudge, and that's the one that's later goes and becomes Project Blue Book, which is like where they keep all the UFO incidences and everything. And I just thought it was weird. They call it Project Grudge, so imagine you're back in 1947. Supposedly, they captured aliens that were alive when that ship crash landed. So, if that's the case, they captured them. Who knows if they died or they dissected them, or if there was some that were dead and some were alive. And they decided to call this Project Grudge because they went out, they freaking grabbed this guy. They made sure someone saw it, because why not just paralyze the guy before he comes and sees what's going on? Like, they made sure he came out, he could see what was going on, and then he couldn't move. And then they kidnapped this guy, and then they freaking dump his body.
That's fucked up.
Can you imagine? I mean, I don't know if that...
Revenge.
No, I'm just saying, maybe that's why they call it Project Grudge. Maybe it's really why they did it.
That's because that's a good point. But you would think that a supposedly
superior race
wouldn't be so petty. Let's
look at us. I mean, what happens when a great white shark eats someone? People go out there. I
think that's shitty too.
Yeah,
though. I think that's shitty when people do that.
Let's say overall they're just like, no, we don't need to do anything to antagonize this race. But then there's one guy who's like, I got my alien space flag. Let's go frickin' human hunting.
Oh my god, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe it's like. Oh god, I don't even want to.
It's terrifying.
I don't even want to
And so I couldn't find any pictures
so
about this incident, but it's all over the place. It's very well known that Sergeant Lovett had disappeared and then died.
Scary.
But
aliens freak me out.
You said you wanted to see images. So the only one that I could find was the images of John Doe that they found in Brazil.
Oh god. Okay. I'm ready. I'm going to have nightmares, but
You're ready? Okay, so I'm only going to show you one. I'm only going to show you one of the images.
Oh god. Okay, I asked for it, didn't I?
I'm only going to show you one of the images. The rest are pretty brutal. I'm not going to show these on... People can look it up. They'll find it easy enough. But, okay.
Okay.
All right. So but this is
a very disturbing.
I'm gonna explain this one.
Is it a very disturbing image? Should we
Oh,
warn
definitely.
People.
I'm not gonna show it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I can't look at it. Oh God.
So the only reason why I showed this one is because it's very similar
I know I'm gonna
to this
nightmare.
one. Except this one, his genitals aren't removed, just his scrotum and his anus.
So how did he?
So the other one, his genitals were supposedly completely removed. This one, they removed the anus and the scrotum. They left his penis, and then they completely removed his face, as you could see. But
did they?
When they found this guy, Sergeant Lovett, all of his blood was removed too. I didn't mention that.
Jesus.
There was no blood. There was no blood at the site, so like they completely removed it. And then I looked at something. I think it's called vascular. I forget what it's called, but it's basically when the tissue is deprived of oxygen. But there were no signs of that, so they removed the blood somehow while he was alive, but kept oxygen in his tissue, so he stayed alive while his blood was taken from him. Is how I took it.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
Christ.
So,
okay, so
aliens are the scariest, I think.
Aliens are the scariest. I think I would rather be. No, I'm not even gonna say.
Dogman or alien?
No, don't make me choose.
Okay.
I think being stalked in the woods is fucking terrifying.
It is.
Like,
But being stalked anywhere. I mean, an alien can get into your house supposedly.
Oh God!
Right
Oh God! No! Stop! So can Dogman. Oh God! Okay, I'm getting too scared. I'm too scared. I'm too scared. I'm too scared.
Okay.
Okay,
well,
but like, I hope I'm not. Like, I don't feel like they're gonna. I mean, it's a very statistically improbable thing that they would bother. I feel like also there's like nothing genetically special about me. Maybe you're a candidate.
No,
but I'm not.
I don't think that they're looking to bother us. I think
I fucking terrifying.
This is totally, them versus the government and what they did to.
Do you think?
I don't think that they're interested in people like us. If this is happening.
Do you think
what?
That they feel love for each other or something?
Alien?
Yeah, because think about it. Like, why else would they be like? I mean, they're like, oh, Bob's gone, like, whatever. But like, they must have felt like they cared about the people, like their own people that were taken by the government, right?
That's something I don't. I mean, how could we know?
They feel love.
How could we?
Because if it's an act of vengeance, like, because the only reason I would commit an act of vengeance is if somebody I loved, like you particularly, were taken from me. Then I'd be like, fuck, rampage. Like, because
I have a particular set of skills.
Yeah, right.
I will find you.
Right. So they must feel something for each other if that's like the reaction.
Maybe. I mean, seeing these aliens, and I'll show you what. If this whole thing is
this is one thing I will say that makes aliens a little less.
You cut me off so much. It's crazy. It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Tell me.
No. I've been talking a lot more.
No, I wanted you to say what you were gonna say.
This is the only reason I find Dogmen a little scarier in one sense is that Dogmen are always consistently aggressive towards people because they want to eat us. Not all aliens are like evil. You know what I mean? Like, from our perspective. Like, I don't feel like they're all like, hey, let's dissect humans. I feel like some of them are like, okay, let's just leave people alone. I feel like they're, benign, even benevolent. Mm-hmm. Some of them. But the malevolent ones, those are the fucking scary. Those are the scariest ones. Because obviously, like, there's nothing you can do about it if you're abducted. There's nothing you can do.
I'm going to use Ecosia to do this search because I like that they plant trees.
I do too. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm a jerk.
No, it's okay. I did want to show you, because I think that this is closer to what they look like, because I believe that this species, because like I said, that supposedly there are like 52 species that we know of, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty. I mean, there's enough galaxies out there to have.
Oh, my good lord.
So, if I mean, let's say that this isn't bogus, complete bogus. They're supposedly related to us.
So
They're supposed like I don't know if maybe because I like to play around with the idea that we're like the way that Britain treated Australia for a long time, they left all their prisoners in Australia, right? Like it was basically like a giant prison island.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what if Earth was that like a long time ago, and that's just how we live, or maybe it's not that. What happened?
My camera had stopped. I think it ran out of room. Let me start it again. I don't know how.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
So let's keep talking about this.
Yes.
So imagine that we're just left here and we evolve in a different branch and they continue to evolve. Or some people think that they're us from the future, or they're us from a parallel universe, or just completely different altogether. But I think it's crazy because look at this footage. This footage really trips me out.
Oh God. Can you close the little guy down?
Sure.
So is this supposed to...
Sorry, that's kind of loud. Let's go ahead and, make sure you describe what we're seeing here so that we don't have too much dead air.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, oh my God.
I mean, they have incredibly tiny shins.
So this is supposed to be from 1947.
This is supposed to be the footage from 1947.
Oh my God, why?
I mean, that could easily be CGI, and then, you know...
And they say it's from 1947.
Yeah.
But...
So, I like to play around with the idea that it could be real, though. I guess they're mentioning it.
Jesus, fuck!
I didn't know that would be there. Sorry about that.
Oh, God.
What a jerk.
They did get me.
Yeah.
It says, haha, got you. I'm like, yeah, they totally did.
Sorry
okay, I
about that.
can't.
Don't look at that. Don't look.
I can't anymore.
Let's
Oh, God.
So that's, I didn't want to.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That was so fucking scary.
Mm-hmm.
So that story, though, oh my God, like, I mean, I guess, like, they must have emotions like us. Like, maybe they don't view us, like, I mean, obviously there were, like, superior intellects, but, like, I feel like that response is just, a very...
Petty?
Yeah, like, that's really, like, I feel like when I think about people doing that, like when like a bear, like you mentioned before, sharks, like when shark attacks a person, like everybody wants to go hunt sharks, and it's like, that's so shitty, like that's so petty, like, you know, killing, like the way like we killed off all the grizzly bears in California, you know, I mean, I think there was the last known grizzly bear was in 1933 or something like that, and I thought that was so shitty. It's like, let's kill all the grizzly bears. It's like, well, because sometimes, occasionally, they kill people. It's like, they're not all going to go murder people, you know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, just because
it's not like a case of where you're so afraid of something that you need to kill it so that, like, what we do typically when we're scared of something.
That's part of it.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in a way they fear us. I mean, if that's the type of alien that we're talking about, they're tiny. They're probably not as strong as us.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're probably like the equivalent of a Neanderthal. I won't say tall. Neanderthal. Compared to them. People. Like, we're probably just brutes that are just less intelligent. And, I mean...
Obviously, yeah.
And
but we're also, I mean... I don't know if that...
I would be scared. We're like chimpanzees
much.
To them. We're like, they're tear off our fucking legs.
Oh, I would never... I mean, my hope that is, if I ever met an alien, they would, like, give me the same, like, respect and kindness. Like, because I'm a gentle person, you know? Yeah. I don't want to ever hurt anyone or anything.
Well, I mean, typically they're known for being telepathic. I think they would be able to sense,
if I have malicious intent. I would Oh,
So
I
I
hope
wouldn't-
so.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope that they'd be like, oh, she's not a threat,
Mhm.
and neither is her handsome husband. We'll leave them alone. That's what I would hope.
Yeah.
Also, let's never
Or
go
they'll
camping
come in
ever
tonight
again.
and abduct us and torture us.
Why would you say that?
After, Dogman came inside and killed,
Oh my.
tore our legs off.
Oh God. Why would you say something like that? Fucking maniac.
Yeah.
Let me see if this is still.
Well, I think that's good for tonight. I mean, I hope that your camera caught something. It's kind of sad that we had everything. I thought everything was set
Well,
up.
I think it was when I don't know at what point it did that.
I don't know.
be
We're going to have to
honest.
figure it out.
We'll
but
look at it.
yeah.
We'll look at it after.
See what we lost.
But I mean, I took up a lot of time with my Dogman stuff.
I don't, what does it matter? It's not a
Okay.
big deal. That's what we're here. We're here to have fun.
Yeah,
I had fun.
I'm terrified.
Good.
I'm like, you hang out with me while I take a shower.
I'll
Like, I was gonna take a shower before
just
bed.
sit in the shower. I'll bring a chair.
Just sit in the room and just talk to me.
Sure.
I don't want to be alone like for a minute. Like tonight, I'm fucking out of my
Yeah.
mind, scared right now. Like I'm like, oh my fucking God, like that. Oh God, the video you showed, but especially that guy, like that was.
Yeah.
And you said, wait, you said that was a John Doe.
That was a John Doe in Brazil. Yes.
Did they take his DNA or anything?
They took his nutsack.
No, I mean the people.
Oh,
Did they?
I don't know.
Humans? Did the humans take his
Oh,
DNA?
I didn't do too much research because we didn't know who he was. That was the only one that I could find
Part
images for, but that one really terrifies me. I really don't want to know too much about that. I don't know what. I know that they found a guy in Australia too. That they found a guy in Australia on the beach, then they found that guy in Brazil, and then we found Sergeant Lovett. And
They were like that. Oh
yeah,
my God.
it's such a big.
Let's.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's very common, but
It seems like it's more likely to happen if you're out camping or out in the middle of nowhere, right?
I think if it's done to you, you're selected for some reason. I mean, if this is a thing, it's not.
But how? How do they like? Do they see? Are they watching us? Like,
who
are
knows?
they seeing us? Like,
Who
can they
knows?
see us now? Like,
We're
oh my
probably-
God, I'm so fucking paranoid now.
We're probably, cable to them. You're like, let's change it to Channel Cate. Let's
Oh
change it
God,
to
don't
Channel-
even joke about that. I fucking hope
No,
not.
no. I mean, their technology could be so advanced. Who knows? Who knows?
I don't want. Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know. It's creepy.
Well, I just want to live to be old and die in my sleep.
We will.
That's my
yeah,
goal. That's
fine.
my main goal in life. In my life is to like die before you, in my sleep.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen. Nope.
Yeah. You have so much more to live for than I do.
I'm gonna pick up drinking and then I will die
No.
before you.
Don't
so-
even joke about that.
I think it's good. We can conclude on that. We're both terrified. So
I'm terrified.
yeah.
Let's take a shower. Let's take a shower and then go snuggle and not sleep and then just watch cartoons.
put the blanket over our heads.
Let's watch comedy shows and just cry.
Okay. Well, see you later.
That concludes the show. Thank you so much for joining us. I didn't pee myself. I hope nobody
I don't believe
listening
you.
to this. Alrighty.
Okay.
That concludes our show.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye. Bye, Seth MacFarlane.
What?